Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to Sunday Shift. I'm going to do it right again, second time in a row. Make sure to like, subscribe. We appreciate every comment that you leave. Um, Happy belated birthday, Tanya. We're happy to have you back. And how was your week?
It was a roller coaster.
Okay.
Um, but I'll talk about my birthday. So,
Yeah.
Sunday night went to Tommy T's in
Hmm.
Pleasanton. They have a lot of comedies. One of my friends is a Kappa, and so they were doing a fundraiser,
Hmm.
and the comedians were all Kappas. It was all Kappa Fest, sorority fest, which I kind of just sat and was like, guess.
You know what? All of my friends who are frat in the Bay are Kappas too, actually, now that I think about it.
So yeah. And then what did I do? I took the day off on Monday. On I went to work on Wednesday, and no, it was Thursday. I was walking around and was going to get lunch, and a guy was walking toward me, and he was carrying a bouquet of flowers, and he asked me for directions to the gym, and I just kind of vaguely described how he would get to the gym in downtown Oakland. And then he's like, "Okay, I'm just trying to surprise someone and give someone a smile on their face." I was
Oh,
like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And I was like, "It looks like you're about to surprise some special young woman with these beautiful flowers." And he's like, "Yes, I am. These are for you." And I was
what?
like, they were pink long stem roses. There's about 14 of them. And I was like, "For real?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just wanted to give someone a smile and you did it. Here you go." And I was smiling huge by then. I was like,
That's so beautiful.
yeah, and then he walked away, and that's it.
That's so sweet.
Yes. And so I was carrying around the flowers, and people were like, "Who gave you those flowers?" I was like, "Someone who wanted to put a smile on my face." And
Damn.
they were like, "Ooh." I just left it at that. But yeah, it was
Yeah, people
amazing,
definitely thought you were like, please get out of my business.
which is fine. So, and
Period.
then on Saturday, I went to see The Wiz,
I saw your
and
picture. You looked so cute in the picture.
oh, thank you. It was amazing. I loved it. They changed the story a little bit,
Hmm.
but I don't want to be spoiler, so I won't say how they changed it. But I loved it.
Was this in
I
San
was.
Francisco?
It was in San Francisco. I think they're kind of doing it a little bit backwards. I mean, I guess the show is starting in Los Angeles and ending up in Broadway, which is
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
So they had Wayne Brady and Deborah Cox. They were the most famous people in the play. So I was
Hmm.
surprised because I didn't think I was going to see Wayne Brady or Deborah Cox.
Yeah.
But they were there. But I mean, they had some great performances, but they weren't the spotlight. It was the lady playing Dorothy. She was amazing. And the guy playing the Tin Man and the Scarecrow. Actually, all of the side characters were great. Even Eveline, she was hilarious. It was, yeah. And then the dancing motif, it was great. And I was singing the whole time. I'm like, I'm sure the people behind me, there was a white couple, were like, if these ladies don't shut up, because we
Yeah, I'd have
were,
definitely tapped on, excuse me.
and I was cackling too. It wasn't just like, oh, I was like, so I was just like, it was crazy. So they were like, oh my god, why are we at this show? I was like, they should just know. This is Black people's rite of passage. We're going to be all up in there loud and talking and celebrating and enjoying. So sorry, white people who go to that show. You're just going
And
to have to
sorry,
deal
me, I'd have been mad too. Not about the cackling, because I'm gonna
with
laugh
it.
too, but I'm certainly gonna be mad about the singing. Excuse me.
Oh. But
But I also go to matinees, so I don't have to deal with that.
yeah, but I think that the music was loud.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I really couldn't, like, I couldn't barely hear myself, but I was singing.
Hmm.
Um so yeah, it was great. Like if you've seen The Lion King, it's kind of like that experience
Hmm.
a
No,
little bit.
I mean, it's very different than going to like a show, which I've been to, San Francisco for
Yeah.
some shows. But when I went to go see the Beyonce movie, I
Uh-huh.
wasn't mad at people for singing along. Like I was like, of
Yeah.
course, like people were dancing. What I was annoyed by was like, because you know that movie had like the talking and the singing, like so it was like
Oh,
the show and then the backstage stuff. And so when people were like talking during the backstage
that
stuff, so
part.
you could
Yeah.
hear, that annoyed me. But no, I
Yeah.
mean, we're here. Like, let's get into it. Let's sing. Let's, you
Yeah.
know,
Because
I would.
the dialogue was actually different than the movie, so I couldn't
Mm-hmm,
be like talking through the quote movie. I'd
mm-hmm,
had to. There's only like actually there's four songs that they were very dedicated to, but there's a lot of new music in there, so it was it was good. But I liked how it was like it was a play for the culture,
mm-hmm.
Black culture. There's some stuff in there that most people who aren't part of our culture may not understand unless they're totally into our culture and just, know things. But there was lots of secret
Yeah.
jokes in there. That was
But
great.
I think that that actually makes stuff good. I mean, we talked about that a little
Hmm.
bit even with GH.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I like In the Heights. No, I don't live in Washington Heights.
Right.
I'm not Latina. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't get, but I do
Hmm.
love when people have things that
Yeah.
reference something specifically and it means something. Then you go look it up, if you know, like
Hmm.
whatever it is. So I think that there's nothing wrong. I actually think it makes something more authentic and more real when we try to stop making it like broad appeal and actually
Hmm.
appeal to like a certain segment.
I mean, if you think about it, The Wiz was made for us. I mean, it's
Yeah,
basically a
100%.
send up of another, story, but it was made
Hmm.
for us. So, I mean, it's very natural, but they made it also very modern. So,
Hmm.
lots of current references and current jokes, as well as some old school stuff that we all
Hmm.
recognize. So, it was good.
That's
I
cool.
enjoyed
That's
it.
cool. Yeah, I love live shows. I actually need to get on it. I used to have like San Francisco Theater House tickets. This was
Mm,
years ago because I wanted to see Hamilton and I wanted to make sure that I could go. So me and a couple friends got like tickets to the theater house, and our tickets were like Wednesday matinees, and I think, and it was like quarterly. So I
mm-hmm.
saw The King and I, extra racist. Ooh, I forgot how racist it was.
Ooh,
Um, we saw Into the Woods,
mm-hmm.
Hamilton, and something else. But anyway, like I would just hop on the BART after like okay, y'all, peace out, go to lunch, and just not come
Yeah.
back. So yeah, as you can see, I
Okay.
mean, my background's a little different. I don't have my regular headphones. I am on the road. I'm in DC currently. Before we hopped on, I said, Tanya, let's get to it because we got to watch this Usher concert that's happening, but in the middle of a football game, I guess. Uh, so, but yeah, I'm like doing well, like getting into having to travel for work again, which is an experience. I'm a person who still masks on public transit. So people were like hacking on the plane, like coughing. And I
Mm.
was just like, can I put my mask on tighter? Like, why are you hacking and not being masked? Like, even if it's just like I wish, yeah, even if it was just like a common cold, you could just put a mask on
Were
and
they
help
even
people around
trying
you.
to be careful? Like,
No,
oh my
no,
goodness.
no, no. Not at all. Not at all. And the flight attendants were masked again too. So I guess like one of the
Yeah.
ladies I was talking, I like to talk to people. She was like, "Oh yeah, somebody is down, got down with COVID, and so we all got tested and we don't have it."
Hmm.
And so like we're trying to be extra cautious, kind of thing. I was like, right, well,
Yep.
anyway. So not at home, new headphones. So if the sound is bad, sorry about that.
I like DC. I'm glad you're there. I don't know.
The
I don't know
weather
why.
is weird. It was like 60 degrees yesterday. I was like, it's winter. It's so scary. Anyway, I mean, Sonny did say there was climate change, so
Hmm. Yeah.
we are gonna do it like we did last week. Let us know in the comments if you like that style instead of being like, what do we like, what do we not like. We're just gonna go through each story and kind of give our hot takes for each story. Um, yeah, that way we'll talk about more. But
Hmm.
before that, Tanya, who was your performer of the week?
Are you new recap or no?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. I think I wrote it was between Jeannie and Adam Huss. And forgive
Mm,
me when I miss a week. Sometimes I mix the last week and this week, but I know they had scenes on Monday.
Hmm.
Um, I thought it was really great, the scenes that they had together. I was surprised that he actually did turn himself in.
Me
um,
too.
but I mean, I think Jeannie Francis gave a powerhouse performance. I mean, she was yelling at him. She's like, if you're gonna act like this, you deserve, to lose your son, all of that. I mean, she had a mixture of compassion, real annoyance, real frustration, that I'm sure a lot of mothers have with wayward kids. And she's, she's still all about turn yourself in, even though she probably learned her lesson from Esme. She didn't. You're like, turn yourself in. You'll be a better parent and be more deserving of parentage to your child if you do that. And then Adam Huss, I mean, oh my God, total embracing of the character of Nicholas, and not the Nicholas that we had been treated to during the past couple of years, but the one that we remember, with Tyler Christopher. I mean, he, has love for his children, love for his mama, um, and then just, some remorse, knowing he made some bad decisions, but, trying to, what he felt was the right thing, but he was scared. Like, who wants to go to jail? Nobody. But dude, if you're going to be right for your son, then, that's the type of decision. And it wasn't a difficult decision, but only Lore can make him make that decision. And that's what we saw. So I enjoyed that a lot. I was tempted to give it to Heather Mills, because of Heather going to visit Esme's grave. But I
Allie
kind of
Mills.
felt, Allie Mills, sorry. I mean, she's amazing. Obviously, she's amazing at Heather, but I kind of felt it was a little over the top for me. So I didn't necessarily appreciate it as much as I felt, about the scenes between Jeannie Francis and Adam Huss. So I'd have to give it to both of them.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna get into their scenes. We're gonna get into
Yeah.
Heather. I think that if it was over somebody other than Esme, I might have felt something about it. But I was like, whatever.
She had some nice touches. Like, I actually liked the very last thing that she did, getting on her knees and kissing the plaque.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting that she threw away the rose. She's like, F everybody else's condolences, only mine matter.
yeah. I just I can't be moved for Esme that way. But I thought she did a great job. Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, I think we saw like really great expressions from people. I enjoyed Jeannie and Adam, and like you said,
Hmm.
Adam has clearly done his homework, and
Hmm.
he has really brought like a more emotional grounding to Nicholas, in
Hmm.
a way that we haven't seen since Tyler, and it's really been necessary considering all that they've had Nicholas do over the years. Um, the emotional grounding was really necessary. So
Hmm. Special shout out to the Clay brothers. Baby Ace stays knowing the assignment. I swear. The look on his face when
yeah,
Nicholas was reaching for, I was like, oh my God, I love you, little baby.
he's so cute. He's very, very cute.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about like everything that's happened this week. Nicholas returns to Port Charles, and turns himself in. I mean, Esme's gone. So I do wonder if that will mean that these charges get dropped. I don't know if they're gonna bring Liz back into the story. I don't know what happens, but um it is interesting to like I don't think Adam Huss is on contract. I don't know what they're gonna do with this role. It brings up questions about what's gonna happen to baby Ace. Is he gonna just stay with Laura and Kevin? Like what's gonna happen there? But he's home and he's in jail
Hmm.
and
I
nobody
kind of
cares
feel
but
like,
Laura.
I mean, unless they have a story for him, I think Nicholas's story is Spencer and Ace. I think, depending on if Nicholas Chavez, after he goes on his hiatus, comes back, or they bring back Spencer in some kind of way, I think they'll probably put Nicholas Cassadine on a shelf until that happens. Because I don't see him having any other story of significance. I highly doubt they're going to put him back together with Ava. I
Mm.
don't know. So unless they, try to pull another Finn and Liz and just rehash something that's just not working right now. I did kind of feel the heat between Maura West and Adam Huss when he came
Oh,
back.
I thought you were gonna say between Finn and Liz. I couldn't even. Like,
Like, no, no, no. When he came back and just visited Ava,
yeah,
there
yeah,
was
yeah,
there was some tension there, but it wasn't the
yeah.
same. And so I kind of feel like I don't know if they're going to revisit that again. So other than that, what story does Nicholas have other than Spencer and Ace?
Well, selfishly, I'm open to Nicholas,
Right.
because Laura needs a kid on the canvas. They clearly
Yeah.
don't know what to do about Lucky. Um,
Right.
I think that his like a return of Lucky would be some really good drama. And I don't want Lulu to wake up. So I think
Yeah.
and like with Spencer gone, um it's so interesting to hear like there's not a space for Spencer for Nicholas without Spencer. I hadn't ever even thought about it like that, just because like
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas Cassadine is Nicholas Cassadine. And I think if we have a strong actor there, they can just give him story. They can revisit Liz, they could do so many things for him, and to be a support to Laura. But I don't know when Jeannie's like vacation is. So
Mm-hmm.
I do think that those things should coincide.
I feel like he is a strong enough character to stay even when he doesn't have a specific story, but I kind of feel like they want to reintroduce him in some way with a big story. Or that's at
Yeah.
least that's what I would like to see. I don't want to just see him hanging out. But maybe, I mean, the story of him being an older dad to a younger son, I mean, that's cool. But I kind of feel like it needs to be something big. But you're right. I mean, he could revisit Niz, and I think that would be way better than Fizz.
Yeah.
so yeah, But I was glad that, I mean, I liked his appearance that he came back. He had some strong scenes with
Mm-hmm.
both Ava, Laura, and Nick Spencer. So I liked him having those scenes out and having those conclusions to those stories. And
Right.
so if they have something compelling enough to keep him on the canvas, then yeah. But I just have a feeling it probably won't happen until the issue of whether or not Spencer's alive or not is resolved.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Port Charles gathered to remember Spencer, Alexis wrote the obituary.
Uh-huh.
And though I don't want to give Nancy Lee Grant anything, I did love those scenes. I thought the
Yeah.
emotional grounding of them with her and Sam, was it this week? Yeah.
That was,
With her and Sam.
I think it was last week.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's what we get. This week was kind of boring and a little
Hmm.
bitty. So I was like, what happened this week? But I did appreciate that. No, it was this week because
Oh, was it
it
on Monday?
I think so
Okay.
because Sam went and saw Sonny. Sonny, okay. I know a lot of times we don't really get into people's performances on the show. I mean, we do, but we don't. Mo cannot be bothered to look like he cares about Spencer dying. Like he's saying the words, but like the vibe is like, I don't care. I don't know. How are you feeling about his vibe? It's very because that relationship was really special with him and Nicholas Betchel. Him and Nicholas Chavez, I don't think ever picked up that rhythm for me. I don't know for other people,
Hmm.
but never picked up that rhythm for me. Mostly because I
Hmm.
think Mo's like good with younger kids.
Hmm.
Um, and like people he saw grow up. So like him and Chad are good because they've been together for a while, that kind of thing.
I know. I think he's good with Dominic or Dante.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But Dom's
I
grown.
Yeah, but I think the reason for that may be because they were giving Spencer more of his own story and not having it intersect with Sonny too much, even though I was disappointed in that in the previous year. So I was like, how come we're not seeing more scenes with Spencer and Sonny? Like, how come Sonny's not more involved in Spencer's
Hmm.
life? And I think I was kind of blaming it on Nina. But because yeah, that's what I was looking forward to, that dynamic that they had when he was
Hmm.
younger, and it just wasn't there. And so yeah, I wasn't surprised by the lack of emotion at the funeral because they don't have the same connection as they did before. And I wasn't expecting him to just drum up some feeling, even though he really should have, because he was close with the kid and he guided them. He was like the pseudo dad. And yeah, he didn't have that emotion, but I wasn't surprised by it because I was already used to him not caring. So I wasn't like,
Yeah, I mean, I think even when they did have scenes together, because they had some things, but when they did have scenes together, I felt like Nicholas Chavez had like a really good rhythm with
mm-hmm,
some of the like him and Jeannie, magical for me. I loved the Spencer Laura relationship that they had. I felt
mm-hmm,
like it was an extension and like a grown-up version of what Nicholas Betchel like built.
mm-hmm,
I liked his dynamic whenever we would see him with Kevin.
mm-hmm.
I even liked, like him and Dom the few times we saw them together, him and Alexis. I felt like he had good rhythm with the adults. I never felt that rhythm with him and Mo. And that was really disappointing for me as somebody who like really was a fan of that relationship. And with Mo, he just like the way he's talked about it as Sonny, it's like, turns out Spencer died. Yeah, he died. How's Lexus? Like it just really
Mm,
felt disconnected. And for me, it's hard in general to connect to this story because every time, like obviously, like I've always like loved Spencer as a character, and we've like talked about that character over and over on this show, but they keep like the press is like, oh yeah, Nicholas Chavez is gone, he'll be back.
yeah.
So it's hard to like, even though with a soap opera, anybody can be back, it's hard to connect with the quote death of this character if we know he's going to be back in a couple months. Like it's just, I don't know, that has been really, really difficult for me to grasp. Um, but I don't know, how are you feeling? How are you grasping it? Are you able to like get in the moment with it? Or in the back of your head, are you thinking, oh yeah, this is like very temporary and he'll be back?
I think if they bring it out in me, I can be in the moment with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I felt like that's the thing. I wasn't satisfied with the funeral at all.
I agree.
I didn't actually like, well, I mean, I appreciated the words that Alexa shared. I didn't like it was her doing it. I felt like I felt like it really should have been Laura
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I didn't feel like Alexis had that much of a close of relationship with Spencer. I think she
She
has what
did.
closer. I no, I felt like she's a lot closer to Nicholas than Spencer, but I didn't feel like I felt like Laura or Cameron deserved it more. And but maybe sometimes the ones that are closest to you are mourning, and so they can't do the whole eulogy. But I didn't like it that it was Alexis doing it.
I think that
Um,
just because you don't like Alexis, I think that was fine.
No, it was fine. No, I mean, that was one thing, but I also didn't like how they did it. I mean, I thought it was cool kind of technique to kind of have the voiceover and them all walking over and then giving flowers, whatever. But I wanted the big shebang funeral. I want them to
I did
be in the
too.
church. I want there to be a huge photo of Spencer with the
Hmm.
flower arrangements. I wanted each of the persons to come up and share their memories of
Right.
Spencer. I wanted to see flashbacks. I mean, we saw some flashbacks with Trina, but it was mainly about Sprina. I wanted to see flashbacks with him and other people, and we
Hmm.
didn't get that. It felt, I mean, yes, Sprina is everything, but I mean, it wasn't all that Spencer was. And so that's what I wanted to see more of. And so that's why I wasn't really
Hmm.
satisfied with the funeral at all. And then it was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, it's over. And and
Yeah.
like the next day, I mean, yes, Joss, she did her social media post, but even, I mean, that wasn't even entirely about Spencer. It became something about Drew and how wonderful man he is. And so I like, I don't know, but that's the thing. I think because of the anticipation of him actually coming back, um, maybe, they didn't want to expend that much energy on a funeral if they're thinking that he's coming back. But at the same time, they did it for Sonny. Well, no, they didn't do all the flashbacks, but they had a big old funeral for Sonny.
Hmm.
He wasn't even dead, you know. I think they had a big funeral for Jason the first time he died.
Well, you remember Sam didn't want them to have a funeral for Jason because she was like holding on to hope that he was like coming back.
Oh,
So I don't think that Jason ever. I don't think Jason's ever had a funeral.
I'd like to believe it, but maybe I'm imagining it. In any
Um,
case, I'm just trying to add to my ire that there wasn't a bigger
no, I
deal.
agree, and I think that that for me is maybe why it's really hard for me to connect with the death or like the fake,
Yeah.
like the presumed death because we didn't have the funeral, we didn't, and I understand, and I try not to judge things in the moment, like why didn't they do this or why didn't they do that because they'll get to it. But
Hmm.
my common refrain is that's why Chris and Dan got fired, and this feels like one of the reasons. You know what I mean? Like it just wasn't it didn't curl all the way over for me.
Mm.
Um, I was happy to see Cameron back. I was just like really touched. I was like, I missed William as Cameron. I loved the scene where he hugged Trina. That like hug that they gave was so sweet. Um, I loved Joss being like, "Can I get one of those?" I was disappointed that we didn't see more of the three of them together. Like the idea of not sending Trina to Windermere, I'm like, what is this about? Like, what is the?
Right.
I'm like, is there a budget issue? Like, we couldn't have that many people in the scene. Like, what is it? And even if that's the case, I would have preferred for her to go without Curtis and Porsha and just be with her friend. Those three, to your point about Sprina, which is,
Yeah.
like obviously this is like a couple of the show invested in, and they want us to still be invested in. But Cameron, Joss, and Trina have lost a lot together. They've lost Dev, they lost Oscar together. Like there have been people who've come in and out of their little clique, and the three of them have remained
Hmm.
parents and not parents and all of that. So that the fact that we didn't have the three of them talking about their collective loss, I felt like was a miss.
Hmm. Yeah, like when Trina went on her walk, she could have met up with Cameron and Jocelyn, and they could have had their own little funeral, maybe at Windermere on the balcony, where they're
Yeah,
reminiscing about the party that they had there, and or anything like that, or going to
yeah.
the cabin. Let's meet at the cabin, or I don't know,
No,
the
not the
cabin. It's
cabin.
probably too
Not the
traumatic,
cabin.
but maybe
Please
somewhere. Like
don't.
they had a spot they could have met, and they didn't. And I think that, yeah, I agree. That's a loss.
Yeah, I agree. Like, even if they said like this was too much for Trina, like she didn't want to be around all those people, which you know what I get. But she didn't want to be around all those people. I would have liked, like you said, like even if she said, "Okay, I'm going on a walk," and then Cameron and Joss being like, "Hey, let's go check on our girl." You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like she knows, and then like the three of them having a moment somewhere to like
Hmm.
lay flowers for him, even if it was at used to be Kelly's, now Bobby's. I
Hmm.
don't know if William is back or if this was just like a short term thing, but I do wish that we would have had more with him. Like for
Hmm.
him going to Bobby's and being like, I remember working here. I remember when I was like this boss to Spencer.
Hmm.
And like having a flashback there, like it just really felt lacking. And so to have this thing where the show feels lacking with it, coupled with the fact that like every piece of press is like the short term, like whatever, it just for me it's been hard to resonate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also something I noted, Sonny talking to Alexis like looking at Christina like one life ends.
Mm-mm.
Sonny is not this kid's grandfather for real. This baby is going to be Molly and TJ's. You don't even seem that close to Molly anymore. This baby ain't got nothing to do with you. This already just seems messy. And please stop making Spencer's memorial about this not baby yet. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't into it.
Hmm.
I wasn't into it. I did love the line of Ava when she's like, I know your relationship with Spencer was complicated. She's like, my relationship with everybody's complicated. It's like such a reminder that the people who have Ava's back are Avery
Hmm.
and Trina,
That's it.
and that's it. That's the reason, and this is just me being shady. This ain't even a section for this. That's the reason I get so frustrated when people talk about how Nina has nobody, because the
Why did
person
I
who
think the same
truly
thing? I was just like, This is an
brain
example of
metal,
somebody who really don't have nobody
who
compared to
really,
Nina.
right,
And like
right,
someone who has suffered and overcome and people still side eye her. I mean, that's somebody that's
right,
why we can root behind Ava because of that.
right. And I want her to have more people. Like her and Sam didn't even interact. I know Sam threw away Julian, but damn.
Right. She always had like she felt always felt some kind of way about Ava and she's sticking to it. And we don't even really know why, but she's sticking to it.
That's the thing
So
about Sam. Okay, when she decides she don't mess with you, she don't mess with you. And then when she rock with you again, she rock with you again. And that's really
right.
it with it.
Hmm.
I mean, I just feel, this is also my section where I talk about how they never use Sam the right way. Sam, like, not having that moment with Ava. Sam, back when they had like Bobby's memorial, not having a moment with Lucas. I'm like, what's going on? Just like, are you? It's like, do you know that me or that video from Best Man Holiday where Terrence Howard is talking to Tay Diggs and he's like, "Do you need some money?" That's how I feel about GH. Like, what? Like, these feel like
What do you
broke bitch.
need?
These feel like broke bitch decisions y'all are making. Like, do you need some money? Because it's really impacting the storytelling for me. For me, it's
Mhm.
impacting it. Um, I mean, and for Trina, how do you feel about her decision to not go back to school? Or how do you feel about how she's been portrayed so far?
I mean, I think it's all part of grief, probably.
Sure.
And it was just like I wasn't surprised or shocked. I was surprised that they reacted to it. I
Mm.
mean, that the parents reacted it to it that way. Like they're not. I mean, they're like, yeah, you can be sad, but you got to move on, girl. I mean, that's too soon.
Right.
Like, girl, you got to go back to school. You got to do something. Like, hello, she just lost the love of her life. Let her grieve. Let her be mad. Man, let her make bad decisions, but protect her.
Yeah.
Don't be like, like, what? You're not going back to school? I wouldn't want to go
I
back
would
to
be
school
real
either.
with you. My mom, if I was 21 and I was like, I'm not going back to school, I lost my boyfriend, she'd have been like, you get your ass go back to school.
Well,
Like,
I guess I kind of come from it in a different perspective because I'm a child. Like, my life was independent at 18.
mm,
So I always feel some kind of way about adults telling adult child what to do, but I guess Trina is protected in a different way than I was.
I feel very much like I was like Trina. My mama was in
Oh,
my business.
oh
My
yeah.
mama is still in my business, if I'm gonna be real with you. Like, Mary still knows what the hell's going on with me. I
Hmm.
I understood like the concern for her. I think that nobody knows how to handle grief.
Right.
That these people, Trina and Spencer, were so important to each other, and she lost him so tragically
Hmm.
in her face.
Right.
Um, that was horrible. And her being like, I actually need like the semester off. I think if that was the case and they kind of tripped on her, that would be different. But she was just like, I don't need life anymore. And I think as a parent, like as somebody who like from the outside looking in, it's like a sprayed up person is like, okay, I get why she's like this, like let my girl grieve. But as
Hmm.
like somebody, I don't know, I just feel like as I've gotten older in my old age, as an auntie, I would be like, girl, what's happening? So I'm interested to see how they're gonna tell this story with her. I know there are a lot of people I've seen just like a little bit online. I haven't dug too far into it who are really concerned with like the way they show her grief. That's also
Oh
hard for
yeah,
me.
I saw some comments and I was just like, "Ugh, I can't with people. Like
But it's like the way she shows her grief. I think like it's gonna be ongoing, right? This is gonna be a
right.
continuous part of her story. So like if we don't see one thing, we're gonna see another thing. It's hard for me again to connect with because I don't want her. I want her to have like the proper grief from her story and tell this like storytelling. I think a lot of people who have watched for a long time kind of are thinking about like Liz when she lost Lucky the first time. That kind of storytelling where it's like we knew that Lucky was alive because we saw him,
Right.
but we also got to see Liz grieve and like, find her art and find herself. I want that for Trina and I I would have preferred for them to write her in like more defiant grief. Like when her mom was like, you know, like this is what Spencer would want you to do. I would have
Oh, I
preferred
felt some kind of way
actually.
about that.
uh, I feel like other people. I did not feel that way. But tell me how you felt about it.
I was like, Porsha, you should be quiet because you hated this boy for so long. You blamed him for everything.
Where was
And
she
she, I
wrong
mean,
though?
Trina don't know that though, but I
Where was
felt
Porsche
like,
wrong?
huh? She wasn't
Where?
wrong, but I just felt like she had no right to give an opinion. I'm just like, and I was irrational. It's not correct or anything like that. I just felt like, oh,
No, no, no. That's
so now you like him. Now you want to talk about what he wanted for Trina. Now you believe that he actually loved her. you know,
well. I think that her point. And see, this is why it's so funny because I do think, and this is why I actually love soaps and I love talking about it with people in a way that's like rational. That's not
yeah,
like us fighting. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because I do think that your like life experience and like how you come into it, where you come into it, how you feel about stuff
yeah,
impacts how you see the story. So
yeah.
as somebody who, like you said, you were independent at 18, you like this is my life. Like y'all got my business. And that
right.
makes perfect sense for you to see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, as somebody who my sister would still call me, my sister is like a second mom to me. My mama is like my mama. My aunties are all in my business.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody would have been in my business. And I saw every reason that Porsha didn't like Spencer. She was never wrong up until the end, to be quite honest. She was never wrong about him. She was wrong to get in Trina's business in that way, but my mama knows it like that. She probably would have got in my business at 21 like that. Um, and I felt like she was right. Like Spencer wouldn't want you to sit around. He did love you. I don't think she ever
Right.
doubted Spencer's love for Trina. I think she was
She
like,
just
let
didn't
him
like
know.
it.
Yeah,
She
let
didn't
him
like
know.
it.
Because he did decisions that put you in danger and his family puts you in danger. And all
and
of
then,
that, I think it made sense. I think the problem with Porsha, and here's what I'll say about Trina and like the way they tell stories, it's not just about Trina's story. You can't get a good Trina story if you don't have good story for the other black people on the show. So we rarely ever saw Portia. Her whole story has been meddling with Curtis and meddling with Trina. However you feel about it, I like Portia. I'm not mad at her, but that's been her whole story. We haven't seen
mhm.
her step into her work. She's like the chief now at work. We haven't seen her step into that. So she doesn't have good story to lean on. So when you get mad at her about one thing, you have this other thing to balance her. And therefore you would want to see her express this thing with Trina. Everybody I've seen wants Trina with Ava. So how
Mhm.
are we demanding? And I'm this is a story a point. It's hard to demand Trina good story if we're not demanding good story for Jordan and for Portia and for everybody else like along the way because Trina's not going to get good story if the other black folks, the other people around her don't get good story. So that's how
I
I feel about the writing.
so here's the thing. I may not like Portia right now, but I think it's I'm still glad that she's there. I'm still glad that she's the mom. I'm still glad that she's stepping in and trying to do.
Yes.
I'm glad that she's, you know, being scandalous and messing with Esme or messing with Trina Sprina's relationship. I am glad for that because that needs to be happening. We need to see black people in all kinds of ways, not just goody goody two shoes. We need to see them when they're questionable. We need to see them when they do bad things. We need to see boring Curtis who gets on everybody's nerves. We need to see, like we need to see all of it. So just given that, if I just because I don't like something, I don't like aspect of her character, I agree. She still needs to be there and she still needs to have good story. And she still I like having her on the canvas. I just don't like her character.
No,
Cause that, yeah.
that's real. But
Yeah.
I also can't help it because it's
Mhm.
me to think
Yeah.
about the way things are gendered.
Yeah.
Because if Taggart would have been there
Hmm.
and not liking Spencer, and you would have bought in the like history that he has with the Cassadines or whatever, I think people would have been mad at him, but it wouldn't be the vitriol that we see at Portia.
Right. And because we know the history that he has with the Cassadines and his inherent distrust of them. And I think I wanna talk about that on another story. But yeah, having
About the
Taggart there.
Cassadines?
No, it's not about it's another story altogether about the Chase men.
Oh
But
yeah.
um yeah, if Taggart was the one that was the lead hater, it wouldn't have. Well, I mean, I still would have been like, no, Taggart, don't be, because I was annoyed when he was a hater with Gia and Nick. And I didn't
Yeah.
so he was like totally against it, but I would have understood it a lot more. Um,
See, but
or I
that's not
don't
my
know.
point. I think the
Yeah.
audience would have understood it a lot more because he's a man. Like
Oh,
people, like it's the woman of Portia, and I check myself on this all the time. Like, so it's not, I'm not blaming people for something that I don't also like. I understand how inherently this is just drilled in us, but I just think that like when I see stuff on the soap and I see sometimes how the audience reacts to it, I'm like, oh, this feels really gendered. So for example, I had to check myself, and this, we'll get into the story too, but around like Carly, and I was like, oh, is she gonna like lose anything? Like, is she gonna have a hard time? Is somebody gonna get on the like back? Like, is she gonna lose anything with Crimson? And I was like, why am I even asking this question? Because Sonny never loses. Sonny's never loses
yeah.
with the mob. People come in, people do whatever. Now we got the FBI looking like the bad guy. I mean, to me, he's the bad guy, but like we have, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's on this man's side. He doesn't lose, so why is it that I'm expecting that Carly has to lose with this magazine? I just feel like sometimes, so that was like a way I had to check myself. So I think that the same thing happens with the Porsche situation. That and the show plays into it because Curtis never was mad at Spencer. He didn't really care for him like that, but he was like, oh, that's her boyfriend. He saved her life in Greenland. I feel like the show should have had more point of view for Portia. Shouldn't have just had her be this like one dimensional Spencer hater. Because I felt in a way that like I am not. This isn't the same for me, but I understand every reason Portia didn't like Spencer. Everything she said was right. He brings you trouble. He does all these things. Like Trina was gonna put her future on the line in court, not knowing that Spencer was on her side, like for him when he was like going against her seemingly. So like as a parent, how could you not be concerned? I feel like part of the bigger problem was they made Portia like so one dimensional. There was no other side of her to root for, if that
Mm,
makes sense. Whereas like you remember Mac, he didn't really like Stone and Robin, but that wasn't Mac's only story.
hmm.
Mac was a fully realized character, so you could be mad about that, but he was going over somewhere else doing something else you like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, you talked about this a little bit. Heather showing up to the grave.
That
I
was great. First
That
of
was
all,
hilarious, but I was like,
like,
so Spencer, so Nicholas couldn't get out, but
right.
Heather could.
And not only could she, well, I guess this harkens back to her pseudo power in the system, even though she she was in Ferncliff and left to murder people. And now she's in this prison and she's able to drag a guard with her so she can go and visit her grave. And then just be yelling at folks and the guard says nothing and be like, okay, it's time to go. And she's like, no, I got more to say. Like normally a prisoner probably would not be, like let loose like that. They would have shackled her and tased her and dragged her back to prison for just her crazy behavior. But you know, Heather's got some cachet. I don't know what she does.
She knows.
But she's like, I'm gonna go and visit my daughter because she died, and you coming with me. And so it was just weird. Like this, some really weird prison systems in Portugal.
Right, right. Like this person is clearly a flight risk, And you
Right.
was like, still, we gonna take her. Don't worry about it.
It's just, and not have like double guards on her. They just have a random guard.
To go for something that's not even really a service. Like,
Right.
what are we talking about? It was weird. I also hated the like absolving of Liz being like, no,
Right.
good that you get out of here. This person, Liz, literally the ghost of Epiphany, propped Liz to be like, I would have done that too. And Liz kept a girl in the tower, and then she got a promotion. And then she blamed Nicholas for like whatever, as if she wasn't a willing participant. Now, granted, here's the difference. I can completely love something happening, like as it being soapy, and still understand that this wasn't the right thing to do. So, did I
Mm-hmm.
love Liz keeping Esme in the tower? Absolutely, I loved it. It was one of my favorite things Liz has done recently. But it turned, she lizzed it up and didn't have no consequences for it and pretended like she wasn't about it. I don't even mind the no consequences. I mind the like, oh my god, it wasn't me. Girl, yes it was. Stand on that.
Yes, she's hecka messy.
Yeah, like I hate that innocent act with her.
Mm-hmm. Or
So
the
I was like,
self-righteous.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
don't
one
like it.
step forward, two steps back for Liz for me, yet again.
And
And
I
this
didn't really understand it until she brought up Franco, and I was like, "Oh, that's right. She was obsessed with Franco."
yeah, yeah.
Like so.
Yeah. I don't know. This show just with Esme, they just never knew. We talked about this last week. They literally never knew what they were doing with that character. Avery never understood her. I mean, she acted perfectly. I think she was great, but she never understood her motivation as a character. She's talked about this. She's like, I don't know what they're doing, so she just had to make shit up. And I truly believe that they didn't realize how bad people were going to respond to the cabin. I like, because they're old white dudes. I think an old white dude wrote it. Didn't understand like the actual fallout from the audience to be like, not saying okay. They thought, oh, this is just a thing to do. And if you remember, like when Esme came in, the young adult scene wasn't messy. That I think is a really big deal because if you think about back in the day when like Lucky had, or Maxie had Lucky like selling his ass for pills, as Tara likes to say, there was other messy things happening. So yeah, Maxie was a mess for doing that, but it was a mess over here and a mess over there and a mess. They took this young adult scene from being like, we're gonna go watch Jungle Cruise together in a dorm room to like Esme drugging and like, you know, shooting revenge porn of them. It was like she was doing too much in a scene that wasn't doing too much. And so she was untenable as a character, and they kept trying to be like, "Look, she's a mom. Look, no, bye, girl."
Hmm. Yeah. Shout out to Avery Pohl. I was looking at some social media photos, and I guess Tabiana had an Instagram, and it was her and Avery Pohl, and I guess a couple other dudes, and they were hugging and whatever. And then I was reading some articles. Apparently, Avery Pohl lives across the street from Tabiana, so they're like
Yeah.
really close. So I really like that. And so now Avery's going. I guess Avery's going to Days of Our Lives. So
Oh, is she?
yeah. Yeah. That's what I
What?
heard. That's a rumor saying. So
Oh, I was
yeah.
like, is this? I was like, this is confirmed. I was already. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm googling now. I'm listening.
Yeah. So I mean, they messed up with the Esme character, but Avery Pohl's amazing, and the relationship that all the teens have with her off screen is great. So I'm kind of happy for her that she's let loose from this character that's just there's no going back for, and she's able to explore different roles. Um, yeah. Oh, but
Yeah,
what
I
else was
think
I
that this is. I
thinking?
don't think she's actually going to dates. I think this is just like rumors and fan casting.
Um,
Yeah,
but about
yeah.
Heather, there was something else that Heather was blaming Kevin for something, and I couldn't quite remember what it was. Do you remember? She was saying it's all your fault.
because he rehabbed Ryan and then basically like so everybody thought Ryan was dead. Kevin like rehabbed him, remember, and like and then Ryan like trade places with him. But that's
Oh,
only
that's
because
right.
Ryan was keeping him under another name. If he wouldn't have done
Okay.
that, then it would have been whatever different.
Oh, that's right. That was
Yeah.
like, okay. That's how he came back on the scene and started torturing Ava.
Yep. That's
Okay.
when Carly was in Ferncliff and like heard him knock in. What a
Yeah.
mess. That was a
Yeah.
crazy story.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Chase man who took up too much space by Spencer's gravestone. I was like, what is this? I don't care. I
So
I I know that I'm gonna always have a problem with them telling an ALS story. I know that's gonna be hard for me.
Mhm.
But just I, I don't care.
Mm. I
The
think
only Chase man I care about is Chase.
so that they were talking about Gregory having to move back in, and it was and Chase brought up the idea that, having, Gregory move in with Finn, meaning that he would lose some of his independence. And it was poignant to me again, my life experience seeping in. I was thinking about the days, like the couple of years before my mom passed away, and thinking about we need to take care of her, we need to do this, and my mom always resisting because she's like, she was young. She died at 60, right? So here we're all trying to be like, Mom, we need to take care of you. Keep having this stuff happening to you. And she's like, No, I'll let you know when I need your help. And so when Chase said that, I was like, yeah, that's true. And I was totally, feeling that, but it wasn't as strong as when that situation happened between Mike and Sonny. And the reason why I didn't feel as much about it with Chase and Gregory is because we don't have the history of the relationship between Chase and Gregory. We've known the dynamic between Mike and Sonny for years. And so having Sonny interject into Mike's life is way more meaningful and way more like that is something that we would care about watching, even if, we feel some kind of way about Sonny. That relationship was poignant. This, I barely know Greg, don't care about Greg. And, I feel, I definitely feel like Chase is really thinking about his dad and stuff. And, when he found out about his dad's diagnosis, yeah, I felt bad for him, but I don't care about Greg. I really don't. So yeah, that was my hot
Right.
take on that moment. That's the only thing I felt about it. Um
Right. Yeah. They
so
keep telling these important stories with people that we don't, well, that people that you and I don't care about. It's the same thing
yeah.
about like what they told that story with Adam. The story of suicide is really important, a very important like story. And you told it with somebody who we don't know and we don't care about. The way this kid was introduced was harassing Jocelyn because of her revenge porn. And now, like, we have to pretend like we care about faux Jocelyn taking care of him. Like, this was a really important story to tell. And you told it with somebody we don't know.
And maybe refresh my memory. Maybe you didn't watch it because you didn't care, but I felt like it didn't end. Like the last thing I remember about that story was him coming out of hospital and
Yeah,
saying, "No, I'm not going home with you, Dad." And then that's it. Like
that's
what
it.
happened? Like what? Like
And
did he choose to go into therapy, or is he just gonna go back to school? Or like what's going on?
the story they told was basically all you got to do is change your major to music and you'll be fine. You'll get over any mental health issues. There's no anything that you have to do because it was irresponsible. It was extremely irresponsible storytelling, and that's why Chris and Dan got fired.
Yeah, that had to be it because it was crazy. Yeah, I know we feel some way about Maurice Bernard, but you're giving Maurice Bernard's son a crappy story. bad writing. And there was so much
Terrible.
anticipation about him being on the show. I mean, I think he can be a decent actor if he had a better story, but they didn't give it to him.
I would have no way
So
of knowing. I would have no way.
I really liked him when they did the flashback of Sonny.
Oh
Not it was like that made
yeah,
up story of
yeah.
Sonny when he was a kid and Sonny being a different kind of person and being the dad
I
of the
remember
kid.
now. Hmm.
I think he did a really good job with that. And so there was some kind of anticipation of him having a phenomenal story again, but they really messed it up.
I
So,
think a lot of the Jex people were like, maybe he's gonna be like a stalker for Joss or something like that, and that would have been more interesting. Something
mhm,
that actually added to Joss's story, because what we keep seeing happening with, especially the young adult scene, but with everybody, but the young adult scene particularly, is that they have these like horrendous things happen to them, and
yeah.
it's just plot point. We never see how it like actually impacts them moving forward. Even, and not that I ever want to hear about Adam again, don't get me wrong, but Jocelyn talking about losing Spencer, and she could have said something like, and I almost lost to Adam. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, we just don't
Mhm.
even care about this no more.
Right.
Why even tell this story if it's just over? Trina,
Yeah.
this is like, even when she asked, and we talked about this last week, when she asked Jocelyn how the grief felt, I know that she didn't love Rory by any means. Like, the whole time she was with him, she was thinking about Spencer, but you didn't dislike him.
Right. So
You
you
cared
know what
about him
it
as a person. So,
yeah.
like, even if it was an acknowledgement of like, this is my second boyfriend that I've lost, and this one feels so much heavier because I didn't love Rory, I love
Rory, but
Spencer.
I really love Spencer. I think she
Yeah.
even had a moment about Rory passing away. I think she got pissed off at Spencer for some reason or what he did. I don't
Well,
remember.
she took Spencer as her date to Rory's funeral, which was I loved, to be honest. I mean, I loved it, but
uh,
it happened. So it's
yeah.
just like they like give the trauma, like this thing happened with Trina of going to court and having her life almost upended from her. That's
Hmm.
why I would have preferred, and we're going backwards, but I would have preferred for her grief to be like she's manic and she's just doing everything, and then her friends have to like calm her down because she's like, I went through court, I did this, I did that, I know Spencer would want this for me, and then them having to like come together to like slow her down, as opposed to her just being like, I can't do anything because he's gone. There's other ways to like write grief and write how hard grief is hitting Trina and have her still be busy and everywhere and in a story.
I would like it if they would just acknowledge the trauma that she has been through
Right.
this year. Like, even if she was like, I don't want to do anything because I was accused of court. I almost lost my life on a boat, and
Yep.
twice I lost my dad. My dad's drinking somewhere. They're not even acknowledging that. And now I have this new dad. I'm like, she's been through a lot. She is
Right.
perfectly right to want to just disappear from life right now and just
Yeah.
really kind of reassess things. Um,
100%.
yeah. Whether it's
Yeah.
being manic or whether it's just like going inward on herself and just being like, oh my God, I can't. Life is too hard.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
not that I want to visit that kind of story on anyone, but think about it. Trina has more reason than a lot of people to have depression, to have, to think about, why am I here?
Hmm.
Like
To
what is
like be
this
doing risky behavior
behavior?
afterwards.
Right.
Like,
Like, is this like what my life is going to be like for the rest of my life? Because the past 2 years have been hellacious.
right. Give her something meaty and good. And
Hmm.
like I said, give that same meaty goodness to Jordan and to Porsha, because
Hmm.
they just have not. Um they've really been taking like, I won't say taking advantage, but like not putting to use any good writing on these black women. And it's frustrating.
Hmm.
Speaking of, Anna and Jordan are arrested, and Anna is now police commissioner.
I actually was thinking, I'm actually excited that, Jordan and Anna are sidekicks. Like, they got a
Yeah.
story, they got an investigation, and I feel like I'm seeing a little more of Jordan um lately, and I like that. I know she in previous actress portrayals, Jordan had pretty big storylines. Like, she was
Mm-hmm.
undercover and, doing all this stuff. and then finding out she actually had a son, finding out that she had an affair, and all this other stuff. The previous Jordan had a lot of stuff going on, and now I feel like they're starting to write for her again, and so I'm appreciative of that. Um, so I'm excited. I'm not excited about Breck and her still.
No, no, it's
um,
gross. It's gross. He
I
just
don't
is
know.
such a creep with her. Like,
Yeah,
like his, like, I'm gonna put on my bedroom voice with her. I'll be sexy. No, Stephen A. Smith. Stop it. Stop it. It's not cute. I will say, and this is again another Tara thing because I've been talking to her a bunch recently. Um, like she brought up, she's like, "What's Portia's or what's Jordan's maiden name?" Right. Like, so it's like even when they give her story, like I need them to give Black women story and depth. Like, what is
right.
going on? I just,
Where's
I
she
just,
from? Like, where's her family from? Like, what's she just came up all of a sudden. I know that she was partners with Taggart. That's all we know.
when you said where she's from, I was thinking because I've been listening to a lot of Megan Thee Stallion and like her song His, and when
Right.
she has a line where she's like, something about fake accents and
Yeah.
posting the certain hood. She in the end, she's like, "Where you from?" That's what I felt when you said, "Where's Jordan? Where you from?" We know Curtis is from what did he say? Baltimore, a very tough place to grow up.
Okay.
Where's Jordan from? Nobody
Right. We don't know.
Okay. Now you know I love Anna down.
Yes.
Anna was getting on my nerve this week. That's my girl. And me and Anna Devane, I'm talking about I support all of Anna's rights and wrongs. Okay. She was getting, like, Anna, whatever. Yeah, you faked your death. I don't care. Yeah, you was with David Hayward, and that was hot. Now what?
Right.
Like, I support all of Anna's rights and wrongs, but I was like, girl, what are you doing? First of all, how did you get sworn in to being the police commissioner like moments after you got out of jail and
For
like
shooting
couple
a
months
little
after
girl.
a couple months after shooting a little girl? It's wild. And you know I blame everybody but Anna for that shooting, and I stand on
Right.
that
Yeah.
100%. 10
But the
toes
public
down.
don't know. The public don't know this. So,
Right.
like we had hinted at the previous week, the public of Port Charles is gonna be like, "What is up with this mayor? What? Who is this police? Like, she just shoot somebody? Wasn't she just outed as a double agent? Why?"
Friends of Port Charles all day. What is going
They are gonna
on?
come out and protest.
What is going on? And then her just being like mad at the feds because the feds don't mess with Sonny. She's like, I can handle Sonny. Or like mad because like Jagger said something to Dante. Yeah, like
It's
this
a
is your
conflict of
name.
interest that he's in this case.
Like, Anna, don't make me defend the feds. What's going on here? It was just absurd to me. And I love Anna down. And I was like, Anna, come on, girl. Just like,
And to have poor Mr. John Cates go up to Sonny and be like, let's share information. And Sonny's like, nah, I don't. He pulled his like, I don't talk to cops. Of course he don't.
when
He's not
Jagger
gonna,
was like, you can't even say Stone's name. I said, oh, Jagger, you have no idea. Stone has been
right.
propping Sonny up on his
Sonny,
dead arms for a long time. the,
like,
so,
you don't know about the Stone Cates Memorial Fund. You don't know about anything.
like, Stone only stopped propping Sonny when Mike started propping Sonny. So, like, he's been saying his name, homie. You just don't know.
Stone is the only reason that Sonny is getting any kind of compassion. Because he
Listen,
got it from like Robin and Laura, and then that's it. And then not Robin and Laura, Robin and Anna, and then after that, everybody else was like, okay, well maybe he ain't that bad.
exactly. Just keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, I laughed at that. I was like, "Oh, Jagger, oh, honey, you have no idea how much Sonny talks about Stone." Okay,
You can't even say his, like, why does she need to say his name in front of you? You knew who he was talking about.
When Sonny was like, "Yeah, it's rough being a coffee importer," climate
I
change.
love it. That was funny.
I cackled, cackled. I said, "Okay, Sonny, you had a little one-liner. Okay, I see you. I'll
I
be
think
mad
it's
at Sonny
funny
all
every
the
time he
time."
does that. Every time he does it, he's like, "I'm a coffee importer." What are you talking about? Like, we
Every
all know you
time,
ain't.
Sonny, bro, please. Speaking of Sunny, all the mob stuff is coming to a head. We find out there's been a string of mob hits that we hadn't heard about, and apparently Brick hasn't heard about. Brick, what do you do? How do you not know this? You telling me it's mobsters getting taken out and nobody told? Like Sunny just don't know
Are they
how?
trying to explain why Selena's not around?
Right. Then you got Brick looking at Dex. First, what made you suspicious because of a credit card? I'm trying to understand. How much was this champagne? A glass of champagne. How much was
Right.
this glass of champagne that made you worried about how much Dex makes?
I mean, I would think, I don't know. I would think being a mobster, hitman, or second in command would pay
Well,
enough to buy you a glass of champagne. I would. I don't know.
like
So
literally,
I think that I think being able to. Are you looking up salaries of mobsters?
I was googling most expensive glass of champagne, but I
Okay.
will but I will look up mob salary. Let's see if that's on
I
Indeed.
mean, because it's kind of risky, and I would think that you would need to get paid a significant amount of money. I mean, all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden we've seen Dex in suits and stuff, and Sonny wasn't questioning where you get the money for the suits. No, because obviously Sonny pays him well. I would think.
So there are expensive champagnes that have like diamonds in them. There are things from like 2600 to 9500. But what do we think Curtis is actually carrying in the champagne room?
Right.
Anyway, it just like didn't make any sense to me. Plus, but when Brick did the check on Dex in the past,
Right. They
Dex
didn't find it.
should have already had this offshore account. Michael been
Right. So
paying him.
yeah. So they didn't find it then.
Michael should have just been modem, and then like
Right.
in the comments like for my dad. Like it just was silly to me. I don't know. It's I'll also say this. I mean, I know that you're also somebody who's watched for a long time. So I wonder for other people, listeners, whoever who have watched for a long time, when Sonny used to be in danger, it would feel like Sonny was in danger. The whole show and like the people around him, everything would feel like he's in danger. I don't feel that. Even with the Ava shootout, it was like that happened and then we're done.
Hmm.
Like it used to be, where are the people to be like, okay, I know you're not messing with Nina, but Nina now has a guard. Now Carly needs a guard. Josh needs a guard. Like you would feel it from the people who were around him. Like I remember part of the way, the reason that Cameron and Trina got so close was because Josh couldn't go out with them because of a mob hit. And like they were like on shutdown at the compound at the lake house. And so we don't feel that. Like so it doesn't even feel like something to take seriously because nobody is on like we hear Dante be like, "Oh, you have more security." Okay, but we don't see it.
I was thinking even like the music would reflect it. You know, like they have like
Yeah.
exciting music when there's some scene going down. Not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it. It's not good.
Right. So,
That's why Kristen Dan got fired, as you know.
you got a whole bunch of reasons why Kristen Dan got fired.
Every day I'm looking like this is why he got fired. This is why he got fired. And now let me get back on my same Dante-ness. So one, we forgot to talk about the Sante kiss moment. Who out here is making more out of nothing than Sante? Like when he was leaving or Sam was leaving the penthouse and she gave him that hug and kiss. I said, look at them Sante crumbs that they serving us because they know that's all we got was crumbs, but they gave it to us.
Mhm.
Again, Zaddy Dante. Now, Daddy Dante. Dante, come get your son, Dex. He's in danger. I need it. I need it.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
get your son, Dante. He's in danger.
He is. He's in danger. Let's have more story. Yes, I'm like, yes. Anything they give to him would be great. Yeah.
The story and the secret between Dante and Cody from their horse camp is that Dante got a girl pregnant and then she went off.
Right. And she went off and,
Had Dex.
gave Dex away to some family that makes him compete and he wasn't feeling it.
And beats him with
Whatever.
Christmas trees,
And
apparently.
right.
We need it. Give it to
We
us.
need it. Yeah. That's it.
Um, we didn't talk about the literal roll in the hay of
In the
Lucy and Scott.
hay.
So Tracy basically feels bad because Gregory makes her feel, bad about it. She tells Martin, it was me. I was the one who like came in between you and Lucy. This is
Mhm.
like a few seconds after Lucy and Martin break up. Then Martin walks in right after Lucy and Scott with a roll in the hay. How you
Yeah.
feeling? How you feeling about
I,
it?
I was devastated.
That devastation.
It's like, oh no, Lucy and Martin are broken up now. No, I was actually feeling bad for Martin. Tad Martin. He couldn't. I felt bad for him. And the funny
Mhm.
thing is that I was so sure that he was the one that was, doing Lucy wrong during that whole fiasco about the seven wives. But um Lucy, oh my god, she's just I don't see how she can keep a relationship. She keeps ruining every single one
For
on her
Scott.
own. Let's Scott. And I'm just like, Lucy does
Mm-mm.
not deserve Tad Martin. He can do better. I just thought it was so fun that the relationship that they had. I
I
mean, they're
loved their
very
relationship.
sexy. They were not even hiding, they were having good sex and they were enjoying themselves and it was great. And so now we don't get to have that anymore because Lucy don't know how to act.
But also, shout out to Lynn Herring for her banging body.
Right.
Okay, Lynn Herring keeps it tight, tough. All right, Miss Lucy Coe
Woo.
looks great.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one thing. I'm never gonna be a Lucy and Scott person. I know that there are people, especially old school fans. I'm not that old school. I think also people who watch Port Charles like don't like Kevin. I didn't watch Port Charles. I love Kevin. Shout out to Kevlar. Um, I'm just never gonna be here for Lucy and Scott. And I'm sad that she broke up with Martin because I liked her like playful relationship with Martin. But shout out to them in the history, I guess, of Lucy and Scott. But I'm not a fan.
I did find it hilarious though that they had a roll in the hay, and then
A
Martin
literal
catches
roll in
them,
the hay.
and then Martin catches her with hay all up in her hair.
Also, how short it must have been because like she had a short conversation with Tracy.
Then 15 minutes later, she goes and has sex with Scott.
Oh God. I will also say I don't think it was Tracy's fault. Nothing Tracy said was wrong.
No, I mean she was right. It proved her right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Um Other things that happened, Milo reconciled. Sure.
Not surprising.
What
Milo's
was
gonna forget. I
surprising
just
to
really hope that she does not forgive Nina.
you
I
said Milo,
mean,
Milo, sure. But
you need to cut Nina out of
no
your life.
Nilo. No
No
Nilo.
Nillo. No Nillo.
I um I think the show needs more couples. I've never been a Milo person. I find them to be like too domesticated and boring for me. If Milo is your thing, shout out to you. Not my thing. But I also felt like the drama was manufactured and who cared. What I did not like was Michael having to go like hand in hearts or what is it, hat in hand to Sonny to be like, oh my God, forgive me, daddy. After everything Sonny did to Michael, let's just call it even.
I think it just adds to the further drama that, Sonny still don't know about Dex and Michael. And I think
Oh, right.
so he didn't 100% come clean. There's still some secrets, and that's about to come out soon. So I think that's why they did
Yeah.
that.
Because I'm also like with the offshore account, you can't trace who the money came from. Before you bring Dex into the Pine Barrens, you're not gonna figure out who paying them. What's going on?
Right.
So yeah, I think that that's going to be interesting. I mean, I it'll be interesting to see like how it comes about because Dex hasn't been trying to take Sunny down for a long time. He's actually been trying to like keep him safe, and that's why he said something to Michael in the first place. Um, I think it's also just like this is another manufactured point because Michael should have known Sunny was in danger because they should have upped security on Michael and his family. Like this is the point that Sonny is a mobster and like being a mobster brings danger to all the people who are connected to you. That's always been the point. And they just have like lost the plot with that. Um anyway. But shout out to my ship, which is Mex, Michael and Dex. The Kim is still there.
Right.
And I loved it.
It's still there. That's great.
Um Spixie and Sodi. So
That's so
Finelli and
cute.
Maxie. I know you don't mean Sodi, but us and
Right.
Sasha and Cody double date. They go
Yeah, and
axe
then
throwing. I
and
loved
then
it.
Cody being a Cupid does not make me like him
Oh,
anymore. I do. I like Spixie making their way back together. I thought it was adorable. I loved
I
it.
love Spixie so much. Um, I love Kristen Storms. Have always loved her from Xenon to Days of Our Lives to wait, because you still haven't seen Xenon, have you?
Sorry.
Mm-mm. We gotta get we gotta get this right, y'all. We gotta get it right. But so I've loved her from for a long time. I've loved her when she was messy. When it was Maxie versus Lulu, I was always team Maxie. When
Me
Maxie was sleeping
too.
with Lucky, I said, "Suck it, Liz."
Liz, I was like, yes, it was great.
I'm like, Greg
Well,
Vaughn is fine. Get it,
yes.
get it, get it.
I
Um,
loved Messy Maxie. She was my fave.
I love Messy Maxie. And now, I mean, I'm interested to see this new chapter of her life. One of the things, I don't know if you caught, when she was talking to Spinelli, she was like, our kids. Like she called the kids our kids. And I was like, oh my God, they are y'all kids. Like Spinelli is their daddy. Everybody's not just Ellie.
And
I
she's
want them
like,
back together.
she's like, yeah, I think it would be great if you just stayed. I don't want you to go back home at all. I was
Yeah.
like,
So on Sunday shift, we love Spixie. Give us our Spixie. Hit us up, Liz and
yes,
Pat. We love
yes.
them. More Chillin wedding planning. I'm here for it. Like I said, I think that we need more couples. I think Chillin is really cute. I had my issues with them at the beginning. Not at the beginning really, but like when they had Chase being ridiculous. But you can just tell Josh Swicker is supposed to be a puppy dog. He is not supposed to be a jerk. Nobody wants to see. Well, nobody, me, don't want to see Josh Swicker being a jerk. I don't want to see it. I love it. I love him being a puppy dog. Happy for this wedding. Excited for this wedding. And can't wait for it to happen. They're gonna be so cute. I think you might have sounds going on in your background, so that's why you're
No,
oh
I'm just like, no comment. I agree.
yeah, they're gonna be adorable. And the last thing to talk about, um, Nina versus Carly, part 55. um,
Pray for us,
so
Jesus.
Carly is in charge of Crimson. She's having issues with advertisers, maybe pulling out. Nina has decided that she wants to put up a competing magazine. Um, Drama ensues. I will say something that I think people might find surprising. I don't think there's anything wrong with Nina wanting to put up a competing magazine. Who cares? The way Drew fired her and the way it went down was stupid. I agreed with it. I loved it. Like take it from her. I wanted Carly to kick her out of the Metro Court. So I'm not mad about that. And I think that it's perfectly fine for Nina to like want to put up a competing magazine. I don't think there's a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it as long as she owns up to it and not be like, I'm trying to be a better person. No, you're not. Just
No,
own that you're really all about a revenge and you're just really trying to hate on Cardi. That's fine.
yeah.
Go for it.
I I just want these two to be out of each other's orbit. I think the drama between them is stale. I think that it y'all need to have other like the writers need to give drama to other people. I don't care. I appreciated Carly being like, let's make it, let's leave it alone. I'm not buying Mad Drew. I'm not interested in that either.
I don't know. I like it when he goes off on her. And it sounds like he's going to do it again on Monday. So can't wait. I like it when everybody just throws some hella shade at Nina. I'm here for all of it. Carly, it don't have to be Carly. It could be anybody. Like I said, we feel like the whole community should weigh in on this. I'm loving how Brooklyn is like, nah, she did this and I don't like it. So yes, Brooklyn can hate on her. Drew can hate on her. Maybe somebody else come out of the woodwork and don't like her. That's fine. I'm here for it.
So here's like something I found to be stupid. So the advertiser, I actually I think it makes sense that advertisers are like, what's going on over there? But if the story about Carly and Drew is scandalous, then how was the story about what Nina did not scandalous?
Right.
Because I remember Michael made a point of having it like a whole story arc being put in the Invader or whatever. That I think is part of the issue. I think that so much of the SEC fallout is actually what we should have seen with the Nixon Falls fallout.
Right.
But they were trying to pretend like this was a love story. Um, I also see that it feels like Sonny and Nina are like edging towards maybe getting back together. Whatever. I will always hate that couple. I'm not gonna like it ever, but this seems to be what they're committed to. So whatever. I just I don't find I don't find it to be interesting. I don't find Nina to be compelling. I thought her like back and forth with Martin was kind of funny. I just think she needs to get out of Carly's orbit and then just go be her own character. If y'all are going to keep this person on, I just feel like there's always this like back and forth between her and Carly that's unnecessary, or like this like, look, Carly's a good person and Nina's a bad person. I don't think that that's true. What I'm saying is, I'm gonna defend Carly's rights and wrongs, and I'm not gonna defend Nina's because I don't know her and I don't like her. Like, so it's not a tit for tat. Like, oh well, you like Carly and she did this. Yep, I sure did. Loved it when she was a mess. What are you talking about? She kept Willow's secret. Yep, loved it. Why not? Thought she should have told Willow, but she didn't, so I'm rocking with her. Like it's not like a even like okay, well Nina did this. Like Nina ran into a burning building and saved Donna's life. Thanks.
When did she do that?
No, I'm just saying in general.
Okay.
Like
I was
there's
like,
not any. You're like, wait, what
she
just
has
happened?
like she did like Nina being heroic? What?
But even if they did, I'm not gonna like her, and that's
Right.
okay. That's okay. So like,
Right.
just write it and leave me alone. I
Ah.
this character is not
Nina,
good.
that's what I'm saying. Nina, take notes. Sunday
It's,
shift does not like you, and we're okay with that. You need to be okay with your messiness and own it. I
and
agree.
that
I love the scene between Tad Martin and Nina, especially when he
okay.
was like, Especially he was like, "Stop smiling," and she was like, "Okay." That was
She's
funny.
like kind of funny. Even
Yeah.
when she saw the guy like talking to Carly and she was like, "Who is that? Why is he talking to her?" Girl, why do you think? You know why he's talking to her. What are you talking like? Or when Lois and Olivia came into Olivia's office arguing
Oh,
and
I
she was
love
hiding
that.
behind the
Was like
papers.
the best scene ever. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you about that, but I loved Lois going off on
Off,
Nina and was
off.
like, I'm like, yes, that was like clapping. That was the best thing.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much of a I don't know. Anyway, I just feel like there's too much of Carly and Nina in each other's orbits. Like let Nina go be like run her magazine, let them go do these things, let them run into each other and have the beef, but when they're not together, let's just like dead it. It's so boring. And it has been front burner for years now. Give other people the chance to be front burner.
And then also, if you care so much about your daughter like you say you do, that should be your focus. Willow says she want to have nothing to do with you because she saw right through your thing. Like, I just care about you. Willow saw like, no, you don't care about me. You care about whatever you care about yourself and this revenge thing with Carly. And it's showing. She has not given another thought to trying to reconcile with Willow.
You know, that was another interesting thing I forgot to mention when Michael and Sonny were talking. He was like, "I hated being like estranged from your kids." I was like, "Sonny always had the ability to do to them kids." Like, I don't remember Michael like cutting him off.
Right.
Cut off
He just
Nina.
like he cut himself off of them
Exactly.
because they were not letting Nina see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I I that is I think is such a good point. Again, with Nina, like she has so much support, so many people in her corner. It's frustrating. Like the show wants to like write realities that are not based in characters and not based on anything that we've seen. And so I do hope when Liz and Pat come back, we're able to or like come and like our like part of what they do is stop just making things up around characters and actually let characters drive story. Like where are the natural points of tension? Where are the things that we can explore? There are just so many missed opportunities that we've had over the years of things that should be true based on characters that they are like characterizations and family histories that just never come up. And I really do hope that that's what we see, with their tenure.
Yeah.
Well, all my hot takes were already said. Do you have any?
Let me review. um, I do. I even if I have nothing about GH, I have a hot take about something else.
Okay.
Um,
What is that hot take about something else? You got me nervous.
leave the world alone. Okay, so it's about another show.
Oh,
I'm
okay, tell me.
we I'm hecka mad that they canceled Station 19 and they're giving us
Yes.
this stupid CGI 911 show instead. I was like, what? What was wrong with Station 19? That was the bomb show. And then this 911 show looks like a whole bunch of like, I don't care about no ship like Titanic sinking. What does that have to do with this? People on the Titanic are calling 911? Is that what they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't like it. And so that's it. I'm not here for it. And I ain't gonna watch.
No. I mean, I know Angela Bassett is on it, but I'm done with
Oh, she is?
propaganda. Yeah, I know. Look at your face. I'm done with propaganda, period. And I think Station 19 is such an important show.
It was getting so
They
good.
they get into so many important issues. They
Right.
explain them. Sometimes, like at first, I was like, these are really heavy-handed. Like they get really, but I'm like, you know what? This is because some of this is our world. Like this is what
Right.
we do. We talk about all day for work. But if this is like the only access you have to it, it's so good. Really quick answer though, because now you got me on my Station 19 bullshit. So I do a lot of work around like justice transformation, policing, whatever. And I talk about how we change the conversation because I firmly believe that like more police don't keep us safe. It's actually more things like building the world that we want to see without police. So I talk about how we change the narrative, our movement changes the narrative all the time. So there was like a scene from G8 or not GH, Grey's Anatomy years ago. It's Jesse Williams, and a little boy was like shot by the police and killed, and then he gives this whole speech about how they need better training and better this and better that, right? And then 5 years later, there's on Station 19, kind of in the wake of like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, they have one of the firefighters give this speech about how like Black lives are more important than buildings and that, and like saying the name of Black people who've been killed by the police. And I was like, look at the jump that this writing responded to because we did this work.
Mhm.
That they had this scene where like the firefighters and the police had beef. And when they first showed it, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be like a one episode thing. But it's
No,
actually been a through line in the
it was,
show to the point
yeah.
where they've talked about building out mental health response without police. I
Hmm.
have always like, I will love that show for that forever because that is like the work that I do. And
Hmm.
so having it when they have good ratings be canceled is crazy. They literally have showed like talked us through abortion. They had one of the firefighters take the abortion pill and they literally showed us her process in a
Hmm.
time where we know what's happening to birthing people over this country. So we said when we first started this podcast years ago that we weren't going to get political. We lied. We're gonna get political and we're gonna say they should have never canceled Station 19. And I hope that fans including myself, can get them to reconsider. Period.
You know what we need to be like? So there's this children's series on Netflix called Shadow and Bone.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Those fans are on Netflix's neck.
Yeah,
Every social media
yeah.
post, they're like, "Oh, that's great. Where's Shadow and Bone at?" I
Well,
was like,
look. Social media, Station 19 fans are on their neck too, myself
"Okay,
included.
okay,
Anytime they post something about Grey's Anatomy, they're like, "Yes, Grey's is great." And so, what about Station 19? Just look for it; it's everywhere, and you should sign a petition. I'll send it to you.
yeah." But they're like not just like every single post Netflix
Mm-hmm.
makes.
Yeah,
They got some dedicated Shadow and Bone folks. I was like,
yeah,
that's that is commitment. And
it
Shadow and
is.
Bone is all right. But
Oh,
it's
don't tell
not station.
Sandra. Sandra loved it.
I mean I like the books actually. I like the books a lot better than the show.
Oh, yeah, I'm starting to read the books right now.
Yeah, the books are amazing.
Okay.
But yeah. So,
Whew.
anyway,
Well,
sorry for delving into something else, but I had to go
never
there because I'm
apologize.
upset.
I'll talk about Station 19 all day, every day.
You know,
Um,
I'm
would you
definitely
like I got previews for next week,
go for it.
Monday. Laura and Kevin make an important decision. Gregory confides in Tracy. Carly and Drew discover Nina's plans. Sonny is suspicious of Dex. Trina struggles with her grief. Tuesday. Dex is in a fraught situation. Carly makes a realization. Molly learns that Christina and Blaze are more than friends. Elizabeth connects with Laura. Lonely Ava seeks out a friend. Wednesday, Valentine's Day. Sonny is furious. Maxie confides in Sasha. Curtis and Porsha celebrate their anniversary. Yikes. Chase and Brooklyn share a magical moment. Sam and Dante learn Danny is in trouble.
Uh-oh.
Dante family. Uh, Thursday. Anna and Valentine cross paths. Nina receives an intriguing proposition. Dante and Jordan get disturbing news. Ava advises Sonny. Jocelyn is determined. Friday, Sonny issues a warning. Anna, Dante, and Laura. Sorry, can't read today. Anna, Dante, and Jordan strategize. Cyrus tells Laura how he plans to protect Nicholas. Alexis reassures Sam. Ava tries to impart wisdom on Jocelyn. So we know that next week, Sonny is going to discover something about Dex, and he's going to be furious about it. So we shall
I
see.
hope it's not just like why you got an offshore account? Because I got offshore money,
Look
fool.
at
Just
offshore
kidding.
money, homie.
Why you got an offshore account, Mr. Coffee Importer? Shoot.
Yeah,
Wait.
that's it. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and thank you all for listening. Enjoy the Usher concert,
Thank you.
which you
Thank
probably would
you.
have watched before you watched anyway.
Right.